which everybody can look at and see what that level is, and also, obviously a bunch of background information on the whole aspect of DOADs and codes of ethic and the rest of it. So yes.
So you did sign a conflict of interest?
I don't think, no, I didn't sign a conflict. I signed the offer, but within the offer, they describe multiple paragraphs, and one of them has to do with conflict. Yeah. Okay.
So Dalian signed a contract with D&D after you became an employee again in the fall of 2021. This is obviously a conflict of interest. Why did you not feel you were in conflict?
Sure. So at that time, I had my hands off the wheel of Dalian even before the 19th of September. And so that's why I provided, my signature to the staff. So if there was something going on, that I would be, not even aware of it. So, and in all honesty, I was not even aware that this smaller contract had even come through until I started getting read into this file for our meetings.
You said that there were a lot of paragraphs in your contract dealing with conflict of interest. Can you just explain a little bit more about that?
So not like there wasn't multiple paragraphs dealing with conflict. It was multiple paragraphs just describing, our relationship or my relationship with D&D as it relates to the PIPC union, as it relates to, healthcare, as it relates to a bunch of different things that you would normally have on an offer. But there was one paragraph in there for sure on conflict. Yeah.
Okay. Are you satisfied with your work on ArriveCAN? Do you feel that Canadians got good value for money there?
Oh, that's a great question. As a certified, high-tech, not only a consultant, but security specialist, certified in many different areas from IT. From an IT perspective, purely, I believe that the aspect of putting all of that together, getting the coding done, getting it on an AWS landing spot, getting it onto, all of the cybersecurity, all of the other healthcare PII information that needed to be adjudicated and coded into the application. Is it fair value? I would have probably booked it in at about 25 to 30 million with probably a 10 or 15% contingency, which is around the number that it would come in at around 40 or 45 million.
Have you ever belonged to a political party?
Yes.
Which one?
I have two, actually. I've been basically a PC supporter for a long time. But during the election period of 2021, I did move over to the PPC party and then moved back to the PC party after that.
Oh.
Very good. That is your time, Ms. Yip.
Just when it was getting...
Suivant, c'est Madame Cycle Desgagnés.
Next, we have Madame Desgagnés.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. J'aimerais continuer sur...
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to continue with what I was asking about earlier. Perhaps I could assist you, given that you didn't remember exactly how much you pocketed with ArriveCAN. Perhaps that money was deposited in tax haven accounts. According to what the press has found, you opened accounts in your name in tax havens on 2 occasions since 2011. How much money did you put into tax havens, Mr. Yeo?
Yep. No, I first of all, the press, they come out with their fake news on me being an employer of the government for decades. So I mean, you got to take that for what it's worth. But in reference to that, this goes back to my Afghanistan days. I'll be honest with you. 2008, 2009, 2010, before I went to Afghanistan, I was traveling all over the world and basically going to NATO planning meetings, going to NATO operational planning meetings.
On n'ouvre pas des comptes de banque dans les endroits où on voyage.
We don't open bank accounts in places we're traveling through. Even if you travel for diplomatic purposes, you don't normally open bank accounts when you travel.
Yeah, but I was a consultant back then. But it gave me an awareness of international. I'm an entrepreneur first, right? I'm an entrepreneur first. I'm a soldier second, and I own Dalian third.
Pouvez-vous répondre, s'il vous plaît, combien d'argent a été placé?
Could you answer the question? How much money was invested where it was declared to be a tax haven? 0. You opened accounts in places where they put no money in? Why did you open the accounts?
So I was getting to that. So, as an entrepreneur, I am very interested in international business, and so, when I came back from Afghanistan, I looked into trying to understand how to do international business. And that's what led me to figuring out how to do an EIBC and figuring out how to do international bank accounts and things like that. It was just purely an exercise on, my own, entrepreneurship and trying to figure out stuff. But yeah, no, there's no smoking gun there. There's nothing down there.
Votre réponse est hallucinante, Monsieur Yeo.
Your answer is unbelievable because to be an entrepreneur, you open bank accounts in tax havens. It's just unbelievable. Next question. Let's continue with your affiliation with the People's PPC of Mr. Bernier. You ran for them, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Et connaissez-vous?
And what's your connection with Mr. Bernier? Did you know him for a long time?
No. I obviously being with the PC party and him obviously going after the leadership during the Andrew Scheer days. That's my awareness of him, but I hadn't met him before, to be honest with you.
Vous êtes présenté pour le Parti populaire sans...
You ran for the People's Party of Canada without knowing the person who was recruiting for the People's Party?
Say again?
You ran for the People's Party of Canada without knowing the key person who was recruiting candidates for that party?
No,
Vous connaissez pas Monsieur Bernier?
Yeah,
You didn't know Mr. Bernier?
as a leader that was trying to be a part of the
Vous n'avez jamais rencontré Monsieur Bernier personnellement?
You never personally met Mr. Bernier?
It sounds like no, but the question is, have you ever met did you meet Mr. Bernier?
Oh, yes, absolutely, on a couple of occasions.
Et voilà.
For sure.
I will.
Sorry.
Yes, I will. I'm going to pocket all this for relevance at a future committee meeting when I'm being raised about relevance. But anyway, for now, turn that to Mr. Desjardins, and of course, my belief that members have wide latitude to ask questions. This will be Exhibit A. Mr. Desjardins, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'll just follow up on that last question, and then I'll go to another question if I have enough time. But in relation to your political affiliation, you said you're an active member of the Conservative Party today?
Correct. Yeah.
And do you make fiscal donation to the Conservative Party?
I have, yeah, since 2020, yeah.
Have you ever met with or lobbied on behalf of your company with any members of the Conservative Party?
Absolutely not.
Have you ever registered in the lobbyist registry?
No, definitely not.
You've never registered in the lobbyist registry?
No.
Have you ever spoken about your company
Sorry?
to a government official?
No, definitely not. Yeah,
Okay, moving on then.
Sorry.
In terms of my previous line of questioning on your knowledge about the execution of contracts and subcontracting and task authorizations, it's clear what was made in testimony in prior committees that in relation to Bottler, it's very clear from their testimony that they did not provide consent, written consent, of their knowledge that you had executed a contract in their name, a subcontract, without their knowledge. Is that true?
Yeah, as far as we're aware, when it comes to Bottler, they had a task authorization. We had a task authorization come from CBSA that was going to GC Strategies. That's our relationship with, that's where it stops, is with GC Strategies. They hired Bottler as a subcontractor underneath them. So our relationship was really with GC Strategies, and Bottler's relationship was with GC Strategies. We didn't have a direct relationship with Bottler.
And so you feel as though that your relationship with GC Strategies in this case was your level of accountability to the task authorization and not to the other subcontractors of GC Strategies. Do I understand that correctly?
Yeah, in normal circumstance, the prime contractor and the subcontractor have the relationship. If there's other things happening below that, then we have no influence on that.
And considering you're engaged in the same project, it seems unbecoming that you did not have knowledge that GC Strategies had this sophisticated layer of task authorizations that hid the actual work that these subcontractors were doing, including your company. And I'll ask one more time, what does your company do? What did you do absent of hire other subcontractors?
Yeah, it's the normal course of action for general contractors. You can find that in any
No, what do you do other than that?
Other than that? So I'm trying to get to that. When it comes to what we do, and this was asked to me in OGO as well, and so
Yeah, it's still confusing.
Yeah, well, it happens with every company.
No, this happens with your company. I'm asking about your company, sir.
Okay,
what
that's
does
fine,
your
but I'm
company actually do?
Mr. Ajay,
what
I'm
I'm
going to
telling
give the
you is
floor
that as
to
a
Mr.
general
Yao for an
contractor-
answer, but your time is up,
Yeah.
so please don't interrupt him. Mr. Yao, I'll allow you to answer, moving on to the next person.
Yeah, every general contractor with the government, when it comes to TBIPS contracts, PS Online, TSPS, it doesn't matter. We are the general contractor and the prime contractor for the government. We hire subcontractors to do the work. So what we do is contract management, not the actual work.
Thank you very much. Turning now to Mr. Genuis, you have the floor for 5 minutes, please.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Yao, it's good to see you again. You testified before Parliament on October the 31st of last year. I did at the time ask you, what would you say you do here? And this was one answer you gave in the course of that round. You said, I am an executive on the board of directors for Dalian, and I maintain all of the governance as it relates to the PSAB. Mr. Yao, was that the truth as of October 31st of 2023?
So, Mr. Chair, just a correction, it's Mr. Yo, okay, not Yao.
How about just an answer?
But then I will answer you for sure. But it ends up that we were in that time frame of dealing with lawyers, and I had been directing at a director level.
Sir. October the 31st, you were before this committee.
Yeah.
You answered my question in a particular way. Was what you said to the committee then assembled on October the 31st, was it the truth?
So at that time, there was no divestiture because we were working on it. And
Were
also
you,
I had put
quote,
in
on the, were you, quote, an executive on the board of directors for Dalian? Were you the one who, quote, maintained all of the governance on October the 31st? Was that true, yes or no?
Sure, yes.
It was true.
Well, that's the answer you're looking for, so I'm going to give it to you.
No, sir, I'm looking for the true answer.
So the true answer is
Just as I was on October the 31st.
we were in flux during that time period in order to, obviously, we had 60 days to get everything done, and we did that with Dalian and got our non-disclosure in and our no access.
Okay, sir, you're not in flux. You either were on the board of directors or you weren't on the board of directors, right? A person is either pregnant or not. They're either on the board of directors or they're not on the board of directors. They're not half pregnant and they're not half on the board of directors. You have said that shamefully the media have claimed that you were on the board of directors and a government employee at the same time without asking you. Well, maybe they didn't need to ask you because they foolishly assumed that what you told Parliament on October the 31st was true. Now, sir, your LinkedIn account says that you were a business owner at Dalian Enterprises from 2001 until present, and you were employed by the Department of National Defense continuously from 1987 until present. So, again, to your truthfulness or not, was your LinkedIn account accurate in description of those timelines?
Well, if you look at LinkedIn, it is a non-authoritative source. First of all, it's LinkedIn. It's a web page. All right. Second of all,
why would we believe what's on the internet, sir? It's your own LinkedIn profile, sir. Why would we expect that you would put accurate information on your own LinkedIn page? Outrageous.
All right,
Chair, I'm okay.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to answer that question if I could.
Well, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Genuis. It is his round of questioning. I'll just ask you to. We can all hear you quite clearly, so if you could just keep that in mind, Mr. Genuis.
Thank you, Chair. I am getting a little bit excited here because, Mr. Yao, you have Mr. Yo, whatever your name is, sir.
All right, hold on, Mr.